Alright, here's my tutorial on how to make your own power heads. Alright, first of all, you're going to need a pipe. You need a pipe with an inside diameter of a 1/2 inch. Alright? A steel pipe is best. I found a tool at Home Depot that I can't show you, but it was made of this pipe right here. What it was a tool for opening and closing a water meter out by the sidewalk. You remove that plate and there's that little screw thing. There's a tool, it looks like a T, and it's about 3 feet long and has a little jaw thing. That tool is made of this kind of pipe. You take and you cut it into sections, proper sections. Now, depending on what size bullets you're going to use is how long your power heads are going to be. Okay? These power heads were designed to use for 45 caliber bullets, right? Now, there's 2 different size bullets you can use with my technique of making power heads, and only 2. Okay? There's the 308 and the 45. Now, you might say, oh, I love the 223. That's the greatest one. Well, yeah, it is, and it would work if you have different kinds of power heads. But the kinds that I'm using, you're going to need these. And the reason you need them is because these have the largest primer cap of any size bullet. By the primer cap, I'm talking about this little disc right in here. See that little disc? Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, these little discs, this is where the strike, where like in a normal handgun or rifle, whatever, this is where the firing pin strikes the back of the bullet, setting off the primer, which sets off the main charge, which shoots the bullet. And this is the primer. I know a lot of you already know this, so this is for the people that don't know it. Now, these primer targets, primer caps, are essentially targets for a slip-on power head, because what's happening is the tip of your spear, grab a spear. The tip of your spear is actually going to work as the firing pin for this setup. So you want this tip of the spear to actually strike that primer cap. Now, what happens with slip-on power heads is that they misfire, or just misfire is kind of the wrong word, but they fail to go off. Usually what's happening is the tip of your spear actually misses the thing because it's sitting on slightly skewed. Now, with these other bullets, like, okay, here's your 223. Here's a 308. Look at the size difference of the primer cap. This is much smaller than this. This is big. Now, the only 2 bullets of all the bullets out there that I know of that have larger primer caps are the 45 caliber and the 308. All the rest of your bullets have these smaller ones. And I'm going to show you examples because I have a whole assortment of bullets here on the table. Here is a 38 special. Note the primer cap. I'm going to hold it up next to the 45 so you can see. Small primer cap, large primer cap. Here's a 223. Small primer cap, large primer cap. Here is 9mm. Small primer cap, large primer cap. I'm going to keep going here a couple more times and then you're just going to have to get the idea. Here's a 357 Magnum. 38 special. Next one down. Small primer cap, big primer cap. And I can already tell you because I've gone through, these are really cool bullets. The guns that shoot these. This is called a 177. Pretty cool gun if you ever want to check something that sounds like a BB gun going off and probably still lethal. But anyway, it has too small of a primer cap, so it's no good for what we're doing. Also, the other caveat here is the size of the outside of the bullet. A 223 is a smaller size. Notice it's different size. This is this size. This size happens to be just under a 1/2 inch. So here we are back to the pipe. Your pipe that I'm talking about comes with an inside diameter of a 1/2 inch. So watch what happens when you take in a 45 bullet and you put it in. It fits perfectly. Can't tell, but it's absolutely snug in there. There's really no room for moving. It fits perfectly. Same thing with the 308. Both of these bullets have actually the same diameter. If you look at it, are real damn close. They probably are a tiny bit different. In fact, I can see that the 45 is maybe a hair bigger. But they're so close that they're the right size for what we're doing. All right. I've taken, this is my little special thing. With a 308 bullet, what I like to do is this, and notice there's this weird cone on here. And what I've done is I've taken a piece of tape, and for this case, I don't have any new 308 bullets for this video, but I have other bullets. So just pretend this was a 308. I take my tape and I wrap it around there. In fact, this is a bad mistake because it has the wrong shape. Well, that's fine, whatever. I'm going to take my tape and I put it around this barrel part like this. All right? And that leaves me like that, right? Then I set the bullet down on the table and fill it with epoxy. What does that do? Why would you do that? Well, two things. It seals the cap of the bullet to here. In other words, no water intrusion. I know other people just say, oh, you could just use nail polish. Yeah, but I'm getting to, there's more to this. The bullet's sharp in there. A lot of times with these type of power heads, the spear will hit the back of the bullet and drive the bullet into the shark, or if you're hunting with it, a big snapper or whatever, actually pushing the bullet itself into the target. Now, you might say that doesn't work. Well, I've had problems with that, where the spear, where it's embedding into them, whereas you really just want it to just bump, boom, and go off. You don't want it to go in the shark or in whatever it is that's bothering you, your next door neighbor, whatever. Should I back up? Is that what's going on? Just sit it back there. All right, so sorry about being too close in the video. So you got this set up. I poured epoxy in there. You got this. Now it's blunt. So when you put it in the thing and shoot it, it hits the target, blunt, boom, goes off, never enters the target, no insertion, no penetration, which you don't want. You want the gases to focus. Now that's another reason why these steel pipes are better than a plastic power head. This is a plastic power head. Now for a single use, if you're a rich guy and you're only using them for defense ever, and I say a rich guy is because this is only going to work once, and it's not going to work that well. The reason being is you got your 223. This is a great size round. This goes in here, boom, you put it on. Now when this goes off, the whole end of this thing just blows up because it's plastic, because it can't take the pressure of those gases. So what's happening is a lot of the gas is instead of just going all into your target, some of it's blowing up and only maybe a portion of it's actually going into your target. Way less lethal, way less effective, and not reloadable, not reusable. So back to this. You want a steel pipe. A steel pipe focuses the gases, focuses the blast. This hits your target, boom. All the gases go forward, pushing in, messing up the whole inside of the, probably sharks. I mean, let's face it. So I'm not advocating or what you do with these. I'm merely pointing out how to make them. This is not, I'm not going to get into the morals of using power heads or not using them. Let's just say for the sake of argument, don't use them. They're horrible, never use them. But this is how you make them if you want to use one. Okay? So I personally have only ever used them to defend myself. Only actually really needed one time. And I probably would have been bit had I not had it. So I'm glad I had it. So anyway, so you got your 308 and you got your 45 bullet. Now that we've decided why we selected that, we've got your pipe. The one thing is when you get this pipe, sometimes on the inside of it, there's like where they welded a seam or something, there's some kind of gunk in there. And what you have to do is take your Dremel tool, right, something like this, and get in there and Dremel the inside of that. I'm going to do it for a second. And now imagine that for going about 5 minutes a piece. Also, when you cut these, what I used to cut them is a grinder with a cutoff wheel. This is a 4.5-inch grinder with a 16th-inch cutoff wheel. You cut them, zing, and when you do that, they leave a razor-sharp edge, and very hot, by the way. So you want to dip it into water, get it cooled off. Then you want to take, I usually, once again, take the Dremel or belt sander, maybe belt sand it a little bit, get it smooth. Or if you have one of those fancy, I like to take my belt sander, put it right down on the table like that, clamp it, start it, put a clamp right on it like this. Right? Start the thing up. Where's that button? Here it is. Now you can just go like this. You got your tool. You don't have to hold it. You can use both hands. Okay? But we're not going to get into that for a video because through the magic of television, I have already ground them down and cleaned them up for you. But just so you know, when you get them, so you're going to get this long tool and you're going to cut it up into these little pieces. If you use them all for 45 bullets, you can expect to get about 11 or 12, I think it is, out of it. Okay, you're going to get 11 or 12 of these. And the tool itself was $16. Okay, so you're going to get 12 of them for $16. What's that? $1.20 a piece or something like that. Your bullets, if you're using 45 bullets, come out to about 40 cents a piece if you use quality bullets. The next thing you need, the last ingredient in this little project, is fuel hose from West Marine. This is a fuel hose from West Marine. It has an outside diameter of, guess what? 1/2 inch. Outside diameter is 1/2 inch. Why does it need to be 1/2 inch? Because it fits inside of our pipe. You're going to basically take it and you work it in there and watch it. Look at it, jams it right in there. Boom, goes in like a champ. Doesn't come off, fits, just wedges right in there, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to take your fuel hose, you're going to cut it into pieces about 1 inch long, maybe 1.5 inches, somewhere between the two. Doesn't really matter. Figure it out. Take it and you want to wedge it in there. Now with the bullet, what you're doing is you're going to take your bullet, get it ready, you put it in there. I will take some 5200 marine adhesive, right? I'm going to put some on this bullet. Then I'm going to push it in there just till it's touching. So it's flush, just like this, right? Then I'm going to set it down and let it sit overnight. Now imagine, boom, okay, here we are the next day. This thing has been drying overnight through the magic of television. Then oftentimes in the past, these are some ones I made in the past, and I used some clear silicone. And what I did was just cover the whole end with clear silicone so water doesn't go in there in that end at all. Now, the other end of these bullets, this kind of is already common knowledge, but if you don't already know this, you need to paint your bullets with nail polish. What I've got here is about 3 or 4 coats of good orange nail polish. I leave the bullets right in the tray like this, paint them all on, let it dry for a few hours, come back, do it again, 3 or 4 coats like that, then let it dry at least overnight. These have been done a couple weeks ago, so these are nice and dry, nice and coated, ready to go, right? You can notice I didn't nail polish this seam where the bullet meets the casing. I didn't do that because when I'm doing this process, I'm coating the whole bullet with 5200, and that serves to coat it. Also, like I said, when I'm done, I take either 5200 or, in this case, it was clear silicone, and just squirt it into the end, mush it, and there you go. So you have a bullet suspended in this tube right here. There's your bullet. Your fuel hose, in this case, is already in here. But here's a new one. Your fuel hose, just imagine we had a bullet in this one. I'm not going to do it with a live bullet. The bullet goes right in and see it, but just for this, imagine there was the bullet, it was already there. Taking my fuel hose, got my section here, put it on. Now, inside this fuel hose is a little plastic liner. You're going to want to pull that liner out. Best way is with a pair of needle nose. Kind of twist and see, look, and I'm pulling that out. See that? That's what was inside this fuel hose. Now these fuel hose, this will fit a 7.5 millimeter spear just the way it is. It'll go on nice and tight. For 7 millimeter shafts, you're gonna have to find some other kind of fuel hose or something. I don't know what you're gonna do, that's your own deal. But if you're using 8 millimeter shafts, you're in friggin' luck because these fit perfect for that. You take it, you put it on. This is an 8 millimeter shaft right here. Notice how it goes on. It's snug. You can't tell how snug that is, but I'll give you an example. It's not coming off. Notice it? Shaking it, twisting it, not coming off. That's how nice and tight it is. Not so tight, slips right on. So this one doesn't have a bullet in it. That's why I'm playing with it. Now here's one with a bullet in it. How do you use this power head? Well, I like to keep it in a baggie in your sleeve. Why in a baggie? Well, that way water's not intruding into it if you don't use the thing. If you're not using it, it's in the baggie. Now, what you can do is if you need to use it, you pull it out right in that baggie and just jam it right on there, poking the hole right through the baggie, and goes on, ignore the bag, and just use it with the bag. It'll still work just fine. If you have an extra second, you don't have, Jaws isn't, flying in at 50 miles an hour, and you have a couple of seconds, take your time and actually remove the bag, slip the power head. Now, the very, 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 this is the most important thing of this whole thing. When you're placing the power head on the spear, this is when the accidents can happen, okay? If you were to hold it like I'm holding it right now, I'm not even going to do this with a live one. I'm going to do this with the empty one just because. There we go. This one has no bullet into it. If I hold it like this and jammed it down really fast, what's going to happen? Boom! It's going to blow my hand off. You don't do that. How do you stop that from happening? Well, first of all, you don't have this thing pointing close to you, near you, even towards a friend, although it only has a range of about 1 foot in the water, okay? It's not going to be lethal. Anything farther than 1 foot away, it's not going to hurt you. But whatever, just that being the case, you want to hold it like this, with the hands to the sides. That's the live and poking you. It's pointing away from you. You're slipping it on carefully. This hand's going on here. I'm holding this to keep me from accidentally pushing too hard. You're going to put it like that, and you're just going to slip it down until you feel it touch the bullet. When you feel it touch the bullet, you're in the right spot. You're hot. You're ready to go. Now, with either a 308 or a 45, you're good. Now, The only difference with a 308, because I just made one with a 45, is this is going to be longer. Because you have to have long, look at this, the 308 casing has to go in here, plus your tubing, plus you want it to go onto the spear about 1.5 inches. In other words, you don't just want it to go just on the end like that. It has to actually slide down a little ways in order for it to hold on and not fall off. Okay? So to recap, you got your now if you're using a larger spear, let's say you're using a 3/8 spear, a 9mm spear, or let's just say your fuel hose is just too tight and you're like, Jesus, this freaking idiot told me to do this and I'm putting it on here and it's too tight. It's too tight makes it dangerous because that means you're going to push too hard to get it on and you can accidentally slip. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your drill index here. Now, we all know that 5/16 is 8mm. Same difference. So if you're using it let's say you're trying to put it onto a 3/8 spear. I would take the 3/8 bit, put it into my drill, right? And then what you can do is take your little piece of fuel hose that you're going to use for your power head, right? And like I said, what are we doing first? We're pulling this plastic crap out, right? You take this, put the 3/8 bit in there. This is smaller than a 3/8 bit. This one. Okay. Sorry, wrong one. Put it in here, and then I'm just going to kind of, what I'm doing is I'm squeezing it and spinning it, and it's taking material off. See that little material coming out of there? And that's reaming the inside of this to fit the larger spear. And you just play with it, man. Just do it a few times, put it in, try it. If it's tight, you got it right, and just repeat the same thing. If you got to do it some more, do it some more. If you got to get a bigger drill bit, get a bigger drill bit. Let's say it's too big. Go back, rip it out, start again. The fuel hose is cheap. The fuel hose is $2 a foot or something stupid. So all in, your whole expense for this thing, you're gonna need a bottle of 5200 or silicone will work, although I prefer 5200. You're gonna need a 40-cent bullet, a $1.20 piece of pipe, $8 for one of these. But if you close the tip correctly and stuff like that, you could do hundreds of bullets with one tube. You need bullets themselves. 45s are about 40 cents a piece. I don't even know what these are. They're more, probably 80 cents a piece. I don't know. But stick with 308 and 45, and that's my video. Good luck. Don't shoot any sharks unless they're going to kill you or something. You know, and these are no joke. You can kill yourself. You can kill a friend. You can maim yourself. You can maim a friend. You can injure wildlife for just no stupid reason. So I really hope that no one's going to go out there and you know, shoot any porpoises or you know, even just shoot any sharks that aren't, you know, really trying to hurt you, because just because it's around you doesn't mean it's trying to kill you. So be cool. Peace out, guys. Impaler spear guns video.